Verkligheten. In Swedish, this means reality. Is this something we're all trying to escape from? It's been almost a month since you did your last proper review, so just get on with it. Hello, welcome back. Just a quick apology for not having the CD in the video like I normally do. I haven't had a chance to pick it up yet, but I have heard it, and that's why I'm doing the review on it, which is quite obviously why you're here. So, Verkligheten. This is the band's 11th studio album, and it's the first to feature new drummer Bastian Thusgaard, who replaces long-time drummer Dirk van Buursen, who, as I'm sure many of you know, has gone on to be in Megadeth now. And this is their first release since The Ride Majestic back in 2015. I think I read somewhere that this is the longest gap they've had between albums. So before I get going, I'm just going to quickly read out something from Soilwork's Nuclear Blast page. Soilwork is a band that has been through a lot. We don't have to try and tidy things up by using cliches like personal and or musical differences. It has been hell. We have lost loved ones and significant others have fallen ill. We are not young anymore, and our reality these days is the hellhounds on our tails, the ghosts in our subconscious, and the coldness of existence that starts eating at your soul the very day that you leave the womb. We can no longer escape the fact that we're vulnerable to the shortcomings of life itself. Verkligheten is our attempt to try and go somewhere else, to express all those things that are born in between hypnagogic states and frenzies of hyperrealism. Well, quite the word smythes. I've never really bothered listening to Soilwork before. I've tried getting into a few of their songs. It's never really grabbed me. Not to say that I think they're bad, just I've never sat down and given them a chance. So everything that I will be reviewing this album will be based squarely on this album and this album alone. I don't have knowledge of their discography to compare it to. I know a few people have said that there's quite a change in their sound. Maybe a little more of the melodic in there, but I can't tell you that because I don't know. I can't listen to everything. Opening track, Verkligheten, the title track obviously, and this is an instrumental. It's a slow, plodding kind of acoustic instrumental. Not a bad track by any stretch, but I'm not necessarily sure it really needed to be on the album either, but it's the title track, so I guess it has to. That segues very nicely into the first track proper, Arrival. This is more like it. Get furious blast beats right from the get, which I guess is a great way to introduce Bastian Thusgaard as a more than capable drummer. There's a lot of versatility in this track as well, ranging from full-on frenetic, speed metal-esque type playing to more reflective melodic moments. And there's some great interplay between guitarists. Sylvain Cordray and David Anderson, with great riffs, tasty lead playing, as well as some awesome twin guitar moments. Vocalist Bjorn Strid, and you will hear me saying this often throughout this review, is an absolute delight to listen to, and he absolutely steals the show on this album. His voice is fantastic, his vocal range is absolutely incredible. He can go from melodic, angelic, clean singing to the guttural death metal roar with seeming ease. And yeah, it truly is a joy to listen to, and he sounds absolutely great on this track. Right, then my blood has the sunrise, my soul the imminent threat. Jaded by nightmares and nothing but tragedy, declarations of utter distress. Next up we have Bleeder Despoiler. This one goes in a more groove-laden territory, and in fact the opening section reminds me a little bit of Devin Townsend's More from his awesome Epicloud album. Once again we get a few variations throughout the song, including a brief instrumental bridge section which worked very well, which helped give the song a bit more dynamics, a bit more peaks and troughs, and yeah, it worked well. But yeah, this is a pretty good, pretty solid mid-pace stomper. Next up we have Full Moon Shoals. Chances are a lot of you might have heard this already. I'm pretty sure this was the first single to be released. There's certainly a video for it anyway. Very strong 80s vibe on this one, and kind of found there was a touch of Opeth in there as well. I suppose they're all inspired from the same thing. And once again it is Bjorn that steals the show with a great melodic chorus. Anyone could cure it with blindness. There were moments where I thought I could be a man who's aching for the hour of closure. Darkness clearly kept on covering my needs. But it's not what it seems. It's just an inner endless shriek. Just as you're getting used to the power metal-esque riffing of it all, we get some furious thrashing with some nice little gent riffs thrown in as well. Good song. Next up we have The Nurturing Glance. Get a clean guitar intro starting things off in this one before things amp up into more sort of In Flames sort of style melodic stuff. And then it goes into this really dirty, sleazy riff that really would not have seemed that out of place on Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction. Really fun tune, I enjoyed this one. Next up we have When the Universe Spoke. Another clean guitar intro with a sprinkling of prog keyboards, courtesy of keyboardist Sven Karlsson. This one then amps up into one of the heavier songs on the album. There was a really cool spacey bridge section that kicked in later on in the song as well, which I particularly enjoyed. The ones that we fought for are no longer missed. Next up we have Stålfågel, and this one features Alissa White Gluz of Arch Enemy, of course. Starts out with a very prog sounding keyboard before being joined by a very tasty riff. I have to say I'm not a huge fan of Alissa's growl style. I think she's a great front woman, but not so much the death metal growl that she does. But I was pleasantly surprised because on this song she's joining in very much on the clean melodic vocal instead that complements Bjorn very well. Works very well actually. Hats off to her, she does a really great job on this song. Unbound instantly, airborne aimlessly, we drift towards the darkness of our heavens. Drift away. Unbound instantly, airborne aimlessly, we drift apart to finally fade away. There were some great riffs on this one, some tasty lead playing, and as I said, I thought Alissa actually did a solid job on this song. Enjoyed this one a lot. Next up, the Wolves are back in town. Hopefully not here. Another more mid-paced tune, but had some nice intricate riffing thrown in as well. And yet another stellar performance from Bjorn. By my side. I couldn't make out the first bit. Would you leave me to decide? Will it change this time around when the wolves are back in town? Really enjoyed this one. Next up we have Witan. Really nice melodic twin guitar intro on this one. I was a little put off at first from the initial aggressive vocals. Had a touch too much of that generic death metal growl to it, but to be fair, they kind of morphed very quickly into something much more palatable to my taste, and I have to say that I enjoyed this song a lot. Everyone sounds like at the top of their game on this album, just delivering great performances. Really enjoyable. Next up we have the Ageless Whisper. This one had some cool enough moments in it, but there was nothing in it that really stood out enough for me. Decent tune, but nothing really grabbed me. Next up we have Needles and Kin, and this one features Tomi Joutsen of AMORPHIS. This is another one of the heavier songs on the album. Had a real death metal feel in places and some great melodic twin guitar parts. There's also a lot of really frenetic death metal style tremolo picking that went very well with Tommy's voice. I'm not sure if it's him who's singing all of it or not, because I know he's capable of doing the cleaner singing as well. So I'm not sure who's doing what on this song, but sounds great. And the final song, Aquiver. This one features Dave Sheldon on guitar. I think he's done some other stuff with him before. There's a riff in this that's a very, very new wave of British heavy metal inspired. I enjoyed this song a lot. However, I wouldn't necessarily say it was a very strong closer. So that's the album. And in terms of a score, I would give it an 8 out of 10. That is an 8 out of 10 on my new score. Chances are last year I'd have probably given this a 9 out of 10 with my overly positive reviews at times. But I think 8 out of 10 I think is a solid score for this album. It was a pleasure to listen to from start to finish. A few moments in it which kind of dipped a little. A few bits that kind of lost my attention. But by and large this was pretty much an enjoyable album to listen to from start to finish. Fantastic performances from everybody. Bjorn, absolute superstar. His voice is consistently awesome throughout the entire album. I would say check this one out yourselves, but chances are a lot of you will have done so anyway. I've seen a lot of good reviews for it as well, and rightly so. I think it's a very solid album and well worth checking out. What have we next? Ginger, who is a band I've never really heard before, heard a lot about, are releasing their micro EP, so I want to do a review of that one. Next week we've got the new Papa Roach album, which I'll definitely be checking out. And yes, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, comment, all the rest of that. Share, why not? Share the joy. And if you haven't already, check out my other channel, Free to Be Positive. I've started uploading videos on there on a regular basis as well. I've said too much and delivered too little. On that note, I will see thou.